wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons, the Transformers. The Transformers.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting edition of Transformers Reviews. And today, guys, we're going to be doing a Terrorcons special because we're going to be looking at Rippersnapper and Hun-Gurr. So, to get things off and rolling, let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at Rippersnapper first. So, in taking a look here at Rippersnapper, I gotta say that, I mean, for basically just a shark creature with arms and legs and claws like a certain X-Man, you know, I mean, he's actually pretty cool. See, he's got his full head of shark teeth. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, basically he is just a shark with arms and legs, but none of the Terrorcons were meant to be real, to have real beast modes. They were supposed to be kind of, you know, fantasy beast or, you know, sci-fi beast. And I gotta say that I love Rippersnapper's beast mode. I have a lot of other Transformers that's a shark. But, I mean, there's only so much you can do with somebody that has a shark beast mode. This, you've got a ton more flexibility. You've got, like, the best of both worlds with him. So, one thing is his prime armor is basically a blue recolor of the one that was used with the Dinobots. You can see I've already got Vector Prime plugged in there. And even when we attach him, it doesn't distract too much. I mean, true, there's a huge chunk of armor on his tail now, but I think as the waves have progressed, they've been able to find better ways to apply these in at least one mode or the other, and in some rare cases, both. But I gotta say that even, you know, with or without the armor, Rippersnapper is really cool. I love the cannons on his back, and apparently, much like on Hun-Gurr, he actually has something that's meant to homage the rub signs that the original figures had. And obviously you can see the emblem, so it's not a true rub sign, but to have that square around it, I guess, like I said, was just meant to homage it, which is kind of cool. So, alrighty, well, moving on to Hun-Gurr. I gotta say, when I first saw this beast mode for Hun-Gurr, I was gonna cancel my pre-order, and I thought, God, that thing looks terrible. But as time has gone on, like Rippersnapper, it's not supposed to be a real beast. I mean, do you see any two-headed dragons? So who's to say that see, this is what got me, is the limbs being disproportionate and like the front arms being like way lower than the back ones. But I mean, it's supposed to be a sci-fi beast. He doesn't have to have proportional legs that are, you know, in scale to each other. So it can be like this. And, you know, I mean, it still is like my biggest complaint with this beast mode. But aside from that, he's awesome. I mean, the two dragon heads and stuff, I mean, these become his legs later in robot mode, so it offers a ton of posability for them in beast mode, which is really cool. And, you know, he's got like a short little stubby tail, but, you know, again, I'm okay with that. Now, the Prime Master tech that he comes with can plug in on his legs, and that's really the only place you can attach them in beast mode. But they look kind of ridiculous, so I'm not even going to bother putting that on there. Now I'm going to address the elephant in the room, because this thing has had a little bit of controversy surrounding it, because basically what he is he's a descendant of the Combiner Wars Silverbolt mold. And to kind of illustrate that, here's as close as I could get Silverbolt. But you can see the vague similarities between the heads that are formed from the legs, and then of course the back legs that are formed from what become the robot arms. And then, you know, if you want to, you know, stretch it for the tail or whatever. But you can clearly see, I wondered if the Hasbro execs were like looking at it like this and be like, I bet we can make something out of this. Like I said, I really like their beast modes, and, you know, just really solid in this mode. But I tell you what, let's go ahead and let's take a look at and see what these guys look like in robot mode. Okay, so here we have Hun-Gurr and Rippersnapper in their robot modes. And just to get it out of the way, let's go ahead and I will compare Silverbolt and Hun-Gurr together. And as much as you saw in beast mode, you can especially tell here in robot mode how much of, like I said, he really basically is just a descendant of the Silverbolt mold. But despite the fact that he is, I just love the proportions. I mean, it works for the character that he's supposed to be. And the small little bits that are changed from Silverbolt just make it all that much more distinct. I just love the coloration. The only issue I have is actually not with the figure itself, it's with the lack of what it comes with. He doesn't have any rifles or anything. Now, see, he does come with these combiner feat weapons, and he can hold it like a rifle, but most of the time when you see it from the top, you see it like this, and with this gap and all this stuff, I mean, true, you can kind of see the barrels, but it really doesn't look like a rifle. Now, what I've seen most people do is they'll take the feet and they'll actually attach them to his arms, kind of like this. And I mean, you know, I guess, you know, for shoulder-mounted weapon or for arm-mounted weapons, it's okay, but I've never been a real big fan of it. So instead, I thought, you know what? The Prime Masters, they actually have some decent weapons. Like if we take, for instance, Vector Prime here, then you know what? I think that something like this could work for Hun-Gurr. And I mean, I'm definitely okay with that. It's just really odd how the Voyagers don't have their own dedicated weapons. I mean, Hasbro's excuse is probably trying to use these. That's kind of lame. Moving on, let's go ahead and let's take a look at Rippersnapper. And Rippersnapper, much like Slug, he has a little deal here where you can plug in the Prime Armor. I'm not going to do that just because, well, I really don't want to. And it kind of occurs to me that if you look at the art, especially the figure, it kind of just feels like Rippersnapper is like the Terrorcon version of Wolverine with with 3 claws on his hands and stuff. I mean, it looks like he could be going that route for sure. But what is cool is you can take these cannons that were mounted to his back and give them to him in robot mode. See, as the Deluxes have their own weapons, and they actually work halfway decent. I mean, for Rippersnapper, these 2 little rifles work excellently. And I gotta say, I love his robot mode. It just, you know, it has small little punches of color here and there. And overall, I just love the general aesthetic. I mean, it's basically, you know, Power of the Primes is basically Combiner Wars 2.0. Whatever gimmick they want to try and claim it's different, it's basically just Combiner Wars 2.0. But as far as the figure goes, robot mode is awesome. So both these guys, I'm really pleased with them. I think they work really well. You know, solid figures. And anyway, let's go ahead and head on into Combiner mode. Before we go ahead and head into Combiner mode, I want to show you guys a little bit of a fun feature. Now see, here is just another recolored Enigma, but what's cool about the Enigma is you can actually close it up and cover it on Hun-Gurr and see it's sealed, which I thought, that's totally awesome. Now with this Enigma, much like everything else they're making interchangeable, you can take any of the Prime Masters, put them in there. Now on these ones, see, the Prime Masters are just a little bit thicker so it doesn't shut as flush, but you can cover it up. But I think if you're going to stick a Prime Master in there, you probably want it to be shown off. Okay, everybody, so here we can finally see all these guys combined into Abominus. Now, the reason I'm showing you like this is just basically a facsimile, as we don't have the other Terrorcons out yet. But this kind of highlights the issue I have with this new Combiner tech stuff. Hands, they're fine in Combiner mode. The problem is down here on the feet. They look super itty bitty. Now, see over here with Rippersnapper. Rippersnapper is the exception because you look at the line from the leg to where he connects into the body. Now, visually, this kind of his actual arms and legs kind of visually disappear, and you can see it's more of a straight line. This looks fine. The problem is when you get with bigger combiners, because not all of them are going to be skinny and slim like a Rippersnapper here. When you look at a bigger leg, like I just used a Tarantulas, just as a random example, and he proves the point perfectly. When you have a bigger combiner, these tiny little feet that are provided, yeah, you can put the Prime Masters in them, but they look ridiculous when you compare it to the proportions of the body. Ah, much better. See, I think with these feet, I think it just kind of helps his overall proportions as opposed to the pack-in feet you get. And so here we have Abominus in his other configuration. And I gotta say, guys, I absolutely love how Hun-Gurr, he just forms a really cool looking torso. And I mean, this is spot on for what the core of Abominus should look like. I think I like Rippersnapper as an arm, even though he does kind of follow this standard, that we've had since Combiner Wars, where their robot arms fold in different ways, and that their legs become like the forearms of the Combiner. It works. I like how it looks, and there's really nothing that I have against it. I'm sorry, I'm just geeking out. Abominus is slowly becoming one of my favorite combiners. Anyway, guys, that has been a review of Power of the Prime's Abominus. And until next time, guys, we'll see you in another review.